This is the Tesla Model 3, and today I'm going to show you its quirks. And no, let's leave this to the real talk tomorrow. Seriously now, Tesla has been doing pretty well over the past 18 months or so. And in today's video, we will look at Tesla from a procurement perspective and specifically through the lens of the challenges posed by COVID-19. Let's get started. The segment of mid-sized cars is super important for every car maker. And while this is not the segment in which they may make the highest profit margin, it certainly is the segment in which they sell the highest volume. In that segment, most car makers offer 5 to 10 different models. And until March this year, Tesla had only one car in the segment, the Model 3. And remarkably, in 2019, the Model 3 sold more units in the United States than all of its competitors combined. So this comparatively high volume and low complexity should already give Tesla a couple of procurement advantages compared to its competitors. And these advantages should help them to get a lower cost in a normal environment and should also help them to stabilize supply chain in today's crisis. As a point of reference, COVID-19 is making life pretty difficult for car makers. Most of their factories are shut down right now. And as they are preparing for a relaunch, they need to juggle supplier factories that are still in lockdown, closed borders, lack of trucking and air freight capacity, and the threat of suppliers going bankrupt. So again, keeping one model going in this crisis is certainly easier than splitting attention across 5 or 10 models. But Tesla has more advantages in this crisis, and those may well turn them into the car maker that is best positioned to have a good crisis and emerge at the other end on top. Let's look at the drivetrain, for example. Traditional cars with internal combustion engines have about 2,000 moving parts. The Model 3's drivetrain has 100 moving parts. And what's even better, while other car makers rely on many external suppliers to provide the components of their drivetrains, Tesla is largely vertically integrated and makes the majority of the drivetrain in-house. Just look at the Gigafactory to make batteries for evidence. Let's stay with elements of the car you can see. The wiring harness of a traditional car is about 3 kilometers long and requires tons of manual labor to assemble. The wiring harness of the Model 3 is 1.5 kilometers long and requires a lot less manual labor to assemble. But Tesla doesn't stop here. The wiring harness of the new Model Y is just 0.1 kilometers long and is mostly made by machines. And since machines can't catch a coronavirus, Tesla is much less exposed in this critical component of the car. So let's return to things you can see. I already talked about the Model 3 occupying a market segment that other car makers address with 5 to 10 models. And each of these models comes in hundreds, thousands or even millions of different configurations. Let's look at Tesla's website to check the configurations of the Model 3. Under Car, we can choose from 1 rear-wheel drive option and 2 four-wheel drive options. Under Exterior, we can choose from 5 colors and 2 wheels. Under Interior, we can choose from 2 colors. And finally, under Autopilot, we can opt into Auto Steer in city streets. That's it. Now let's take a look at the interior. Where other cars have tons of buttons and switches, the Model 3 just has a display. Everything is controlled from here. Starting with obvious things like navigation, but also including not so obvious things like opening the glove box and even less obvious things like the heated rear seats. Eliminating all buttons and switches saves a lot of cost and in times of COVID-19 greatly reduces the number of suppliers you have to worry about. But it also provides endless opportunities to refresh and differentiate the car. My Model 3 gets software updates on average every 4 weeks, and features and new capabilities get added all the time. Traditional car makers would have to accomplish this with hardware changes in new model years, and that would only affect new cars and not cars already on the road. In summary, Tesla is well positioned to have a good crisis due to the advantages in procurement. Where other car makers have to keep dozens of models going, Tesla can focus on 3 or 4 models. Where other car makers are highly dependent on external suppliers, Tesla is making more stuff in-house. Where other car makers are burdened with legacy technology, Tesla is continuously reinventing core technology that relies less on labor and more on automation. Where other car makers are proud about endless configurations, Tesla permits you to choose from a handful. Where other car makers hardwire features and capabilities into buttons and switches that all require suppliers, Tesla is performing all differentiation via software. The market is recognizing this, and before a couple of reckless tweets by Elon, Tesla was worth more than Volkswagen, BMW and Daimler combined. Observing how this will play out over the next months and years will be interesting. Let me know how well you see your industry prepared for succeeding in this crisis in the comments down below. Thank you for watching and stay safe. Bye.